Today we're taking a look at the Anker 533 power bank, 30-watt power core. Now this power bank is pretty interesting to me. It costs around £45, though currently it's on sale for about £29. It has two USB-C outputs, one USB-A output. Both of the USB-C outputs can also be inputs. And it also has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery capacity. Now that works out effectively at 36 watt hours, and that's enough to charge most smartphones around 1.5 times depending on your device. Because it only outputs up to 30 watts, you're really only going to be charging portable devices with this, for instance, cameras, mobile phones, headphones, those kind of devices, though the website boasts that it can also apparently charge a MacBook Air as well. You will not be able to charge most Windows laptops with this because they usually require 50 to 60 watts minimum output in order to charge. So this is very much a power bank for your portable devices that aren't laptops. When you buy it, you receive a little case, which is very reminiscent of the old Anker days. It sort of feels like it hasn't changed much at all. And you also get a USB-C to USB-C cable. It's nice for it to be included. It's always handy to have more of them. As I've already mentioned, the maximum output is 30 watts across all the ports. And that's not terribly limiting, but if you're going to have two phones charging at the same time, you will max out at, let's say 15 watts arbitrarily per USB-C port because of that maximum output. So although it could fast charge one phone at 30 watts, if you have two plugged in, you will be limited to 15 each, or whichever device decides to be more dominant. To me, this power bank is kind of a logical successor to one I've carried around literally for years. This is the 10,000 PD. I think it was one of the first power delivery power banks I bought, and this only had one USB-C and one USB-A, so it's nice to have the additional USB-Cs. In order to actually make use of that USB-C sort of high-speed charging, logically enough, you do have to be using USB-C cables. So your phone won't charge by the USB-A port at 30 watts. You have to be plugged in to the USB-C ports. Now, if I quickly use this cable, which is far too long, and I probably should have picked a shorter one, but we'll regret our decisions occasionally. What you're going to find is it immediately starts charging, and the really cool thing about this power bank is it has a built-in display. And I really like this built-in display. It shows you a graphical representation of how much charge there is of a green ring, and then you have the percentage number of the capacity of the power bank that's remaining in the middle of it. And then to the right of that, you actually have a countdown until when this battery bank says it will be empty if it continues to discharge at the current rate. So currently we're obviously charging my iPhone 13 Pro, and it says in 2 hours and 20 minutes it will have run out of charge. Now that won't be the case because my phone's already at 50%, so I reckon in about 45 minutes, maybe less, it'll have fully charged the phone and it'll stop charging. Having this display actually is super handy because this old version just had 4 LEDs on the side, which, although okay, doesn't really tell you how much capacity it really has left, because the 3 LEDs could mean, 75% or 99%. So it's kind of nice to have that representation. You just can click the button on the side and you know how much charge you have left. Now, like pretty much all power banks from Anker I've come across, they have the same feature whereby if you double click the button, you will get a different view that has a green dot in the top left. That's to show you that the power bank is in trickle charging mode. Now, trickle charging mode will charge devices that just don't pull that much power and therefore usually wouldn't wake up the power bank. And it will just force the power bank to stay switched on. Don't forget to double click when you're done, because otherwise sometimes it'll continue to keep that display on occasionally. It will switch off after a few seconds, but it'll then switch itself back on when the device sort of wakes it up enough, and then it might just eventually run out of battery. But that shouldn't normally happen. They're pretty good at stopping that from happening now. The included case, I wouldn't worry about too much. I hate to say it, I think they're a bit of a waste. I don't think you need to keep a power bank in a case, but if you wanted to, you can. But the included USB-C cable is pretty nice. It's one of a number of Anker ones I've had, and I've never had an issue with any of them. And in fact, this is an Anker cable I bought because I really do quite like their cables. At this price point, I think it's pretty good. So at £45, £46, I think it's a good value given the screen, given the outputs. At £29, I kind of think it's, or £28 it is today, I think it's an absolute steal. So I'd definitely consider buying one at that price. But even if it's full price, honestly, it's a good little power bank. It feels well made. The front feels a little bit more fragile than the back. The back and the sides really feel incredibly solid. I'm yet to have an issue with an Anker power bank, so fingers crossed you don't run into any either. It does have the 18-month warranty on it, so if you did run into an issue, hopefully they'd cover you. But to be honest, I've never run into a problem, so hopefully you don't either. I will say I couldn't find this on the Anker website. I can only find it on Amazon at the moment. Bit of an odd one. But hopefully it will be listed on there soon enough. Maybe it's under a different name and I just don't know it. But it definitely says on the box 533 power bank, so that's what I'm going with. So yeah, there you have it. This is a lovely little device. It'll charge up to 3 devices at once. It's at a fairly decent price point, and at just over 200 grams, it's not too heavy to carry around either. If you have any questions about it, pop them in the comment section below. Always happy to help. Equally, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do that, because I always appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks very much for watching. I hope I see you again next time. Goodbye.